Hey there, it's Chad and Leslie from Magic 1077. And if you want real sports updates, keep it here on the Beat of Sports.
Chad, I give real sports updates.
No, you don't, Leslie. Nobody likes your sports updates. You don't even know your sports updates.
Happy Thursday and welcome to the Beat of Sports. I'm Marc Daniels. Chris Vasquez is over there. Glad you're with us today. About to hit mid-August here, Chris. Week one of the NFL preseason. Ranked up tonight.
Got 6 games on tonight.
Came in and the big TV was on ESPN. And it was, what does Fernando Mendoza have to do tonight? Yeah, let's go. Mid-August. Bust or not. God, can you imagine what the pre-show meetings? All right, here we go. What does Mendoza got to do? What do you got?
Do you think they actually meet?
I know they do. I still know a few people that work there. Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of BS can we spit out and just get the hottest of hot?
What do you got? What does he got to do tonight? He's got
those 6 touchdowns.
Yeah. Let me just say this right now. And, of course, you can listen to the show 96.9 FM, 740 AM, the iHeart app, which is free to download and listen anywhere in the world. You can watch the video stream where I'm still dark. I don't know why it's so dark. On our YouTube page, 96 on the Game Orlando, or access the video stream on Twitter, 96.9 Game On. We are lucky that Chris is here today.
Oh, my God.
I'm serious. I mean, there's a good chance that Chris was not going to be here today, and maybe you want to share a little bit about what happened. I appreciate you being here because I understand what you went through, and yeah, tough spot.
I have a very it's kind of hard for me to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I have a very real, irrational fear.
Yeah.
Roaches.
Right. So you live in the state that probably is more than any other one, but yeah.
Correct.
Every one of us has dealt with a situation that Chris dealt with last night.
Oh, it was this morning, 7 o'clock this morning.
Oh, okay.
My alarm goes off, scrolling through my phone a little bit. Daughter just went to sleep a couple hours ago, battling the 18-month sleep regression. I see this gigantic black blob just crawling on the top
Which
of
at that
my
moment
roof.
looks like it's 2 feet wide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a roach. And my wife's
We don't know roach, palmetto. We don't really know here, do we?
At this point, no.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I go and because it's at the top of the wall, so I have to go get a broom.
No, at that point, I gather the family and I'm in the car and we're leaving. I don't care what's over in the house. We're gone. Yeah, go ahead.
So I get the broom, and it takes me about 10 minutes to finally muster up.
So you made the choice. I'm not climbing to get it. I'm going to get the.
No, I am not going anywhere near it.
So you're taking the broom approach.
Yes.
You're going to try to what? Like
I'm going to try
take the broom
just
and
stab at it.
Right.
And sure enough, after about 10 minutes,
Quickly the roach goes, "Oh, broom guy here is going to come after me." Okay.
About 10 minutes of like finally mustering up the courage to try and hit it.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Really?
Do you remember me eating broccoli? How long that took me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about that.
So your thought is what? This thing is going to go like Men in Black and turn on you and become like this?
If I told my wife, if this thing flies, I'm screaming.
Is your wife laughing at you or?
Of course she is.
Okay.
And then what does she do? She goes under the covers. So I'm by myself with this monster of a roach.
So you put the broom up there.
I hit it, and of course it flies.
No.
I throw the broom, I throw the dustpan, I run to the other side.
Palmetto has come to life.
I run to the other side of the room. I don't know where it's at this point.
Not only does it fly, it makes that noise too, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm reliving it.
Yeah.
So.
And then what?
I don't see it. And sure enough, it falls. I have a hat rack on my door, and it falls into the hat rack.
Oh, you got to throw that out.
They're all being burned. Right. I'm burning every single hat that I own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I take the broom. I'm like just ruffling through my hats. Sure enough, one of the hats
Does it hit a cowboy hat?
It did not hit a cowboy hat.
Oh.
Still burning it, though. And I knock one of the hats off, and the roach is there. I grab one of my sandals.
Mano y mano.
Grab one of my sandals.
Sandal now.
Which is now being burned as well.
Yep.
And I and I see the roach kind of.
He doesn't go easily though.
No, he doesn't.
He bounces.
He bounced up, and then turned over on his back.
Oh.
And I just see all the little legs just a little scurry. And I also took off a couple of his legs too. So the roach is now on his back, and it takes me another couple.
And you
of
think
minutes.
it's over here? You think victory's been declared?
No. I'll take this handle one more time and to at least kind of slow it down.
Like Game of Thrones when Jon Snow takes on the entire army. Go ahead. Yeah.
So after a couple minutes of just looking at it, trying to muster up the courage again to sweep it into the dustpan.
Right.
Finally get it in there.
Sweep it into the dustpan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's the dustpan with the handle. I'm not going anywhere near it.
Right.
I
You get cooties if you touch it. So you wouldn't like take a bunch of paper towel and crunch it.
Oh, God, stop it. It's disgusting.
Okay.
So get in the
crackling sound.
Oh,
yeah.
stop it. So I get in the
Juice
dustpan.
oozes out of
it. Oh, it's gross.
Uh-huh.
Get in the dustpan. I go to dump it in the toilet. And the bastard is just sitting there, clinging for life in my dustpan.
Oh, and you're trying to shake it off?
Yes.
And everything?
I don't know if I can say that.
You may have missed the dump. I'm going to be honest. I'm not quite sure you got the dump there. Dump it again?
Yeah, 16 seconds.
Going to take 9 minutes to ramp back up again.
So I have to bang it on the toilet to get them out. And sure enough,
Are you ever going to use that toilet now?
I did, but I flushed it like 8 times before using it.
So it eventually
it's gone. But I want to move.
Yeah.
I want to move.
Yeah. I'd have that house for sale by noon.
I need a new hat collection. I need
Wow.
new floors.
Yeah.
I need new everything. I don't do roaches.
I told Chris an intruder would have been better for him. He would have physically taken the person down and dragged him out of the house. But yeah.
I don't do roaches.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm proud of you. Yeah.
My wife's just sitting there laughing at me the whole time.
Yeah. She didn't offer to help though, right?
No.
Yeah.
I thought we were supposed to be a team.
Yeah. Now your thought is, did he lay like 10 million eggs in the house?
I do have a Massey. I don't know when they're supposed to come. But
Well, today, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, they might need to make an
an
unscheduled
emergency
appearance.
visit today. Wow. Well, Chris, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for putting up with that and still finding a way to come into the office today.
I don't know if I'm 100%. I'm rattled.
I don't know if we ever are. Chris. Not quite sure we all ever are. Wow, we got football going on. First weekend of the NFL preseason. A little bit of that. Cam Miller's got his weekly visit coming up just after 10:30. Mike McMahon's joining us. So you have no idea who that is. Mike McMahon, Chris, he's probably the best college hockey writer in the country. Like, you can talk college hockey? No. But I mentioned this. If you were with us on the video stream yesterday, when we on Wednesdays kind of leave the mics live during the breaks of the stream, I mentioned college hockey years ago. The entire sport agreed to what was called the pairwise system for ranking teams, kind of like the BCS. They took a formula that the sport agreed to that said, here's how we're going to pick teams for the NCAA tournament. You get an automatic bid if you win a conference tournament. Okay. But at-large spots are going to be based on these rankings. So, Chris, they're real time. So you play a game on Monday against somebody, it's a real-time rank. That's it. There's no committee. There's no, got to vote this poll. There are voting polls in college hockey, but they change pairwise to the NPI, just a different name. And that's how they rank teams. And the sport has accepted it. And here's what it's done. It's encouraged better non-conference matchups because it helps you. A road win against a good team helps you. So I want to talk to Mike about how that sport accepted rankings, and could we ever get to that in college football? Could we? I mean, if we're going to expand the playoff again and have more at-large teams that we're arguing over, can we not get a system that takes the human element out of it and all agree? Because we've seen a bunch of non-conference contracts canceled. So we thought we're going to get more of these games. I mean, we got Ohio State, Texas this year. We're losing those games. Hockey embraces it. So why can't we do that in college football? We'll talk to Mike in the 11 o'clock hour. Really good history lesson. Chris will love today's history lesson. Hopefully you will as well. Here's everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? One Forrest one.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
Where you can choke
so
on that. Coffee. Choking here.
Wow. That was funny. Mark, what's the difference between a dad joke and a bad joke?
I don't know, Chris. What's the difference between a dad joke and a bad joke?
The first letter. Dad, bad.
I'm going to be Mike Tuck today. I think I'll be Tuck. The Beat of Sports on this Thursday, coming up on the 28th of August. Taste Central Florida, presented by Edward Jones, returns to the Orlando World Center Marriott. We've been telling you about it all week as some of the wonderful folks. You got 100 of Central Florida's top chefs, restaurants, and beverage experts. They've been coming by the iHeart facility, dropping off some stuff to sample. And 100% of the event proceeds benefit Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida and the Coalition for the Homeless of Central Florida. So you're going to have a great night and support some wonderful local charities. Get your tickets and learn more by going to tastecfl.com. That's tastecfl.com. Chris did sample the Smile ice cream.
Yes, I had an Oreo
that
cheesecake.
was brought by. They're going to be a part of the event. What'd you have?
Oreo cheesecake.
Yeah, they had several
Very
flavors out.
Yeah, there was 5 different flavors.
Okay.
Very good.
Good. So thanks to the folks at Smile Ice Cream for coming by. And again, that's tastecfl.org for more information about Taste Central Florida, presented by Edwin Jones. And it is at Orlando World Center Marriott, Friday, August the 28th. You know who Phil Alden Robinson is? You have no reason to know that.
Initials FAR. Or no, PAR.
Something like that. He wrote Field of Dreams.
Okay.
Tonight is the Field of Dreams game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Major League Baseball's been doing that for several years now, and tonight is the annual game, and it's kind of cool to watch, and it's kind of fun. I still think that one of the great speeches is the speech that he wrote and James Earl Jones does in the movie. Can I give you a quick background? This isn't today's history lesson.
Yeah.
But, the movie Field of Dreams, okay? And so Phil Alden Robinson writes it, and Jones, in his own eloquent way, apparently reads, memorizes, and then said, "I'm ready." And the only reason why there was a second take was for lighting. Because this was the first take by James Earl Jones.
Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they like.
Ray, just sign the papers.
And they'll walk out to the bleachers. And sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. And it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces.
Ray, when the bank opens in the morning, they'll foreclose.
People will come, Ray.
You're broke, Ray. You sell now or you lose everything.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
And then Volpe challenged and missed the call again. No, But James Earl Jones did it in one take. They asked him to do it again because of the sun. That's an actor. Huh? Great speech.
He's got such a great voice.
Oh, man. Great speech. Tonight, the Phillies and Twins play the Field of Dreams game. And I guess it was a big deal. They convinced Kevin Costner to come back. He was there for the first one. All right, I'll come back again. So that'll be tonight. 10 o'clock hour, WYGM, Orlando, WJR, HD2, Cocoa Beach.
Can I give you a quick update?
Yes.
I just got an email. Massey already came to my house.
Wait, you called him today?
No, so I signed up for their program. They come once a quarter.
Yeah.
To like spray the house, maintenance, whatever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So today just happened to be that day.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I got the email that they already he sprayed the outside.
You feel
of the house.
better now, don't you?
No, because he wasn't able to go inside.
What a coincidence.
It's
That's right.
kind
You
of
get
fun.
the outside. How about that?
So yeah, I had Massey come today.
Good for you. You're going to sleep with one eye open tonight, right?
Yeah. We're going to have to tape the toilet
How are you
shut.
cleaning the hats? Are you just throwing some out?
No, I'm throwing them out.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I already threw one hat out.
Wasn't a good hat, though, was it?
It was a girl dad hat. Mm-hmm.
Like a daughter gift?
No. It was from a family member.
Yeah.
But no,
What
that's where the roach was.
Well, what if they say what happened to the hat?
I will tell them what happened.
Huh. All right.
I got no shame.
All right. Okay.
There was a roach on it.
Yesterday, the news that WFTV Channel 9 locally and their sister station Channel 27 will be the home for the Magic this upcoming season. If you're a Magic fan, I mean, clearly by the past season, you learned about what was happening with regional sports networks. The Magic, who for their entire existence had a regional sports network that was their home, going back to the original Sunshine Network and then Sun Sports and all the name changes that eventually got to, what were we last? FanDuel, whatever it was. But regional sports networks, for the most part, have collapsed in this country. The model of how it was successful is gone. And to give an idea, do you know the peak of ESPN, of the number of homes that they were in, was about 110 million. It's not 60 million anymore. I want you to stop and think about that. The most expensive channel, even to this day on your cable system, is ESPN. And when you combine the different ESPNs, it depends on where you are, it adds up to about $18, $19 for all the ESPNs. And I don't even know now what the NFL Network did. It might even be more. How about so I'm not going to ask Chris to do the math, okay? But I'll make it simple for you. Let's just take off $50 million. $50 million times, and I'll even keep it at $15 a month. Start doing the math. That is why they've shifted in the last several years to, hey, here's the streaming package. Here's the streaming package. Here's all your sports over here. They've tried to make some of that back up by your streaming package. And that's why in the last several years you've gone with the Disney package, and you get this, and you get ESPN, ESPN Plus, and whatever it's called. And remember, as they bid for the sports rights, this is how their economy has changed over the years.
Do you want the number? $9 billion. So I did 50 million times, say, the 15.
Yeah.
I got that number and then multiplied it by 12.
So that's per year.
$9 billion.
That's correct. A lot of money. So they have had to pivot as well. But now bringing it back here, the regional sports network model has collapsed. And depending on what you have, and I'm still a Spectrum customer, I can watch the Rays and Marlins on channels that are just the Rays and Marlins, not on FanDuel, Sun Sport, Bally, whatever the hell it was called. And so anyway, so now the magic of a deal over the air, meaning on Channel 9 select games, and the majority of games will be on Channel 27. This is great for a Magic fan. It's great. Because the alternative was, and there were multiple partners bidding in the market, but the Cox Group and Channel 9, they got the deal. It's great for a Magic fan because at least for the upcoming season, you'll know where to click and watch, and mostly on Channel 27 with select games on Channel 9. The Magic are a number of teams that have gone this route almost at the exact same time. In Charlotte, the Cox owned station there announced a similar deal. The Magic have made approximately $25 million from their regional sports network deal in recent years. The projected figure around 8, and then they've got another deal with DAZN for streaming. So it could be up to 10. There's some benchmarks that got to be reached for that. And if the Magic have a successful season, a better chance of that. But that's revenue lost, but there was no alternative. It's a bigger number. The Heat last year were making almost $50 million in their regional sports network deal. Their new deal, as far as I understand, is about 10. That's a lot of money. I don't care how you try to spend that. That is a lot of money that comes off a line in your budget. And for the Magic, 15 to 17, $18 million less, that's a lot of operational dollars that are gone. And remember, the plan of the NBA next year is to have you go to a streaming portal. Whoever that is it YouTube? Is it ESPN? Is it Amazon? So that you go there and say, okay, here's why I get the Magic, and you're paying for that. Do I want the rest of the NBA? There'll be a model that you can do that. That's what Adam Silver wants. There's still some challenges with that. We've had guests on recently to talk about that because for the two teams that matter the most, the Knicks and Lakers, have no interest in that because they make so much money on their existing TV deals that it wouldn't be in their best interest to do that. But again, I think it's good news for a Magic fan. I said on the bridge, Channel 9, no disrespect to the other stations, has, as far as I understand, the highest news ratings that are there. Primetime programming at night, I don't even know what that's now become a shell of. Although I do like Press Your Luck on Thursdays, the game show. Whammy, no whammies. And I do think Alex Walker does a really good job in the sports department there, and it's a good fit. And it's a good deal for the Magic, but it's a short-term plan for a long-term model the NBA is trying to create. And just be prepared next season and to likely have a different path to access Magic basketball. And Major League Baseball's done the same thing. They live a little bit more in the regional sports network side there, but Major League Baseball is at the forefront of kind of taking everything, partnering with ESPN. And, I mean, that's how I access my MLB package. Probably paying like 5 different people for the same package with that. Just get dinged and, But, like I said, it's a good deal for the upcoming season for Magic fans.
Just make it as complicated as possible for the viewers.
Well, that's not the Magic's doing. I mean, the Magic and the local TV partner here try to make it as easy as possible. I'm saying in the future.
I'm not ripping the Magic. I'm ripping all these sports leagues. They don't make it easy. They make it so ridiculously expensive.
Okay, but I mean, what do you want them to do? Like, what do you want the NBA to do? I mean, give me the solution. I mean, the NBA could let every team create its own local, similar over-the-air deal, which, believe it or not, folks, that's how life was in the 70s and 80s in this country. You could do that.
Okay, why not?
Well, they may, but the league believes that it's a better overall business model to bring it under one portal. And what they're banking on is that within the next 5 to 8 to 10 years, you, the consumer, do not view I got to find this streaming service that is now just natural for you. And that even the technology exists on your smart TV to go from one streaming service to the other. It's a click, click, click. Whether it'll be or not, I don't know. By the way, I was talking to Kelly on the bridge. Not related to the Magic TV deal, but Russell Westbrook retires. 18 years, had the Michael B. Jordan narrated video. I don't know if you watched it or not, but do you agree? All 3 of those guys have a similar career that they'll all 3 be, they're all Hall of Famers in Durant, Westbrook, and Harden, but all somewhat complicated. At the end of their career, not really wanted. can still produce, but not beloved by any particular fan base. In the case of all three, is there any one fan base that loves them
No.
unconditionally? No. James Harden's been bouncing around. Kevin Durant's been bouncing around. Russell Westbrook been bouncing around.
I can't remember. How did it end for Russell Westbrook in OKC? Was it bad?
Well, he's the one that stayed.
But I'm saying, like,
Well,
was
they had
the
a-
divorce bad? Because
Well, they didn't want to give him another big deal.
I do think that fan base still might have a soft spot for Russell Westbrook in their hearts.
Yeah, but we're so far removed. I mean, you might be right, but we're so far removed from that. And I just find these three guys, I wouldn't argue the basketball ability. And even the last couple of years of Westbrook, as a shuttle himself, I said earlier, during his prime, I've never seen a better player rim to rim as far as speed goes. I've never seen a guy grab a rebound and get to the other end of the floor at the rim like Russell Westbrook.
It is crazy how fast he just hit that wall.
Right. But like his first triple-double season is remarkable. If you go back, I mean, a couple years later, now we're just grabbing rebounds late in the game to get to it. But all three of those guys have similar careers where they just became journeymen, still producing, but just not wow. I mean, say whatever you want about James, LeBron. I still think for the most part, people respect the basketball and the way he conducts himself. The other three, it's just like,
I'd argue on the conduct for LeBron.
what's he done?
People
What?
don't like this whole diva thing. The fact that he was holding up the NBA schedule.
He didn't hold up the NBA schedule.
In a way, he did.
That was Adam Silver. They could have released a schedule. What did it didn't stop anybody from releasing a schedule.
You know they weren't going to do it until they figured out where he was going so they can make sure he was on the most primetime games as possible.
But
So,
you know
yes,
what?
he kind of did.
Okay.
And the decision.
Chris,
I'm telling you, people do not like LeBron for that.
I still think the majority of people respect his career and will view him as one of the great players. The other three are going to be viewed as Hall of Fame guys that just bounced all the time, that were not really viewed as, wow, let me wrap my arms around these.
I'm not disagreeing with you
look
on
at
that.
Kevin Durant's journey the last few years. He's not even wanted in Houston.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Yeah. All right. Some football when we come back. Cam Miller, also more football in about 20 minutes. Thursday edition of Beat Sports continues.
it's Johnny Magic from Johnny's house.
Look, we've got you covered with the hits and what's going on in the city beautiful.
And Mark, he's got everything you need to know in the sports world, with maybe a touch of sarcasm.
This is the Beat of Sports with Marc Daniels.
The Beat of Sports on this Thursday. Preseason for the National Football League. The weekend begins tonight. But, Chris, I want to touch on a few other things here.
Alrighty then.
Well, the high school to college story first. High school or college NFL story?
Start with high school.
Yeah.
I think I know where you're going.
Well, in this world of, that sounded like a movie trailer, in a world.
In a world.
In this world of now high school football transferring, which is running rampant, and the state's trying to do whatever they can about it. The news yesterday that one of our most successful, proud high school football programs cannot field a varsity team this year. Sarasota Booker has produced some incredible football players over the years. And they have canceled their varsity season. Their principal put out a social media post that they'll only field a junior varsity team for 2026. Sarasota Booker, you're thinking, man, hard luck. Back-to-back semifinal appearances at the 3A level. Not like, man, 1-9, 2-8. Back-to-back semifinal appearances. And the athletic director carefully words the statement and basically is telling you, we've been gutted. Now, they had some issues last year. They changed their coach. They got a fine from the FHSAA because they allowed 8th graders to practice in the spring. Not exactly illegally recruiting star players to come, but they got fined for that. And so again, they changed coaches. They've had 21 players transfer out. 21 players transfer out. And as that happened, they looked around and felt it was not safe to field a varsity football team. They had less than 20 players available. In Tallahassee, one of our most successful football programs ever in what they call the Big Bend up there, is not going to field a team this year. Jefferson County has also announced they will not field a football team because of a lack of participation or available players. There'll be no varsity or junior varsity football team this year. They're going to field a middle school team, which has right now 21 players for a middle school team, but they can't field players. In a recent effort inviting those interested in playing football to come to a meeting, less than 10 people showed up, and of the less than 10, 4 had actual football experience. The school also has lost several players to transfers, and the facilities have gone south because players have kept on leaving. Jefferson County has 6 state championships in their history. The last in 2011. Their most famous alum, Jack Youngblood from Jefferson County. They did struggle last year, going 2-9, and they were set to play kickoff a classic game tomorrow that now has been canceled.
Why are we letting high schoolers transfer?
We don't have time for that, Chris. We've done many stories about it, but I mean, people looking, wow, so-and-so picked up these people, and there are reasons why, and sometimes it's not complicated, but sometimes you understand. You're a player at a place that doesn't have good resources. Coaches change. The school doesn't put money into it. You look around and like, man, we're not going to be good. It's not going to be a good year. This school over there is going to have a good year. They need a middle linebacker. I play middle linebacker. The coach wants me. Opportunity to get exposure. You may not like it, but I can see, and it's what's happened at a number of places that no longer have the resources or the quality coaches to keep kids to stay. And, Sarasota Booker not fielded a team? Wow. Yeah. So we got kickoff classics around here tomorrow all over the place, and our Southeast Hill High School football report is back, but there's the other side of that. All right, the Jaden Daniels story you saw?
What a...
Chris is upset.
How soft are you?
So Jaden Daniels, quarterback of the Washington Commanders, about to take on that tough Dolphin defense coming up. I don't even know if he's playing in the preseason game. His attorney sent a letter in early August to LSU saying that they can no longer use his name, image, and likeness because LSU has allowed sophomore cornerback DJ Pickett to wear number 5. Pickett wore number 3, but now he's wearing number 5, which is the jersey that Jaden Daniels wore that he thought was never going to be given out to somebody again. And the jersey was not formally retired, and they gave the jersey out to somebody else. So his letter says, hey, you can't use anything of Jaden Daniels in anything at LSU because they are offended that they've given out his number 5 to somebody.
Boo-hoo. Good Lord, dude. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What are we doing? What are we doing? Is this mama's boy? Is this his mom? No.
Something it is.
It does not surprise me if it is. Get over it. You went 10-3 that season. You played in the Jaden Daniels didn't even play in their bowl game. They won the ReliaQuest.
Well, they had a long history of 2 years at LSU.
I mean, good Lord. They haven't even retired Joe Burrow's number.
Won a Heisman
Trophy. He had 60 touchdowns.
Right.
And won a national championship.
Right.
Went undefeated.
Right. Daniels was 9-3. Had 40 touchdowns for.
So what?
Right.
All 3 of his losses against ranked opponents.
Right. Just from a legal standpoint, we'll be asking Richard Hill about this. They have no case. One, it's not his jersey. They have a right to give it out. And he cannot block them from using highlights, posters, or anything. He has no legal claim to prevent them from doing that.
If I'm LSU, screw it. I don't want to associate with him.
Well, I think if you're LSU, you don't get caught in the back and forth game here. But
Joe Burrow's number is not even retired. 60 touchdowns.
Right.
60. Undefeated. National champion. Heisman Trophy. But Jaden Daniels, really?
The Daniels family, not me. The Daniels family is deeply disappointed and feels profoundly disrespected by LSU's decision to give Jaden's number to another player. Jaden and his family had every reason to believe that his number would remain meaningful, part of the LSU legacy, and be honored and protected in recognition of its extraordinary contributions to the university.
You went to the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Jaden made it clear he did not want his number to be given to another player and believed his wishes would be respected. His Heisman Trophy winning season and everything he accomplished on and off the field cemented his place in LSU history. To see that number given to another player is incredibly disappointed and feels like a failure to honor his significance of what Jaden has accomplished at LSU.
That should have been the dad joke today. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This has his mom written all over it.
Yeah. We'll ask Richard tomorrow, but I don't think they have any legal ground to prevent LSU from using it.
Oh, my God, dude. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah. In our state, to kind of bring it back here, the moment somebody else put 11 on it, Florida, it was like, wait a minute. But the moment Steve Spurrier said, it's okay by me, it was like, okay. But, yeah. He said, well, both won Heisman Trophy. Yeah, one played his whole career at Florida. The other checked in for a couple of seasons. But
what about 15 at Florida? Has anyone worn that since Tebow?
I think, but I don't know 100%.
I don't think Tebow had an issue with it.
I remember what George O'Leary said. We don't retire numbers. We retire names. I'm like, I think eligibility retires the name, Coach. I'm not quite sure.
Well, what if you
But
have
it was weird. I mean, seeing guys wear 8 and seeing somebody wear 10 at UCF is been awkward.
Yeah.
You know?
what are you?
Don't get me going on number changes, okay?
What,
Trying to memorize a roster. You can't go 3 years with a number and switch. Not fair to guys like me.
what are your thoughts on this? On Jane Daniels?
I think it's immature. I think it's immature. I mean, it's one thing if you had a discussion with LSU and they said, "Hey, we'll never get." That's one thing, but if you didn't have a discussion, like nothing changes as far as what you did at LSU, and everyone will remember the number that you wore. And I also think we're not that far removed. Like, it's one thing if in 10 years you're like, hey, you've had a great career in the NFL and we want to do this. But when you're 2 years removed of college, I'm not quite sure you're in position to go, let's retire my jersey. Like, if you're somebody that played 4 years, which today, good luck in college football. If you're somebody that played 4 years, multiple national championships, Heisman Trophy finalists, and you're like, this is a no-brainer. We never want to do this. And I'm not telling you that he didn't have a great season that year, but you're right. Joe Burrow was part of the greatest offense I've ever seen in college football. Like, let's grow up a little bit here.
Although you might want to tell Colorado that.
Well, okay. But that's fine. Let's get to some football with Cam Mellor next.
you know is very limited, and what you don't know is limitless.
The Chief Analytics and Data Officer at Pro Football Network. You can follow Cam on X or Twitter at Cam Mellor.
Time to talk football, and Cam Mellor is our weekly visitor around this time, and getting closer to week 0, so he's fired up. Depth chart.
My heart is happy for week 0 being here. Oh, so soon. And NFL preseason tonight to wet the whistle a little bit. So,
yeah. I told Chris I came in this morning on the big TV behind me. What does Fernando Mendoza have to do tonight in mid-August? Got to do something tonight, right?
Has to. He has to take the reins and be the no. Yeah, he. It will be nice to see the arm talent on display, perhaps, but also, get what can we actually learn from a preseason game? What does his cadence look like? How fast is he adapted? And let's hit somebody with a different jersey, different color jersey.
Okay, Chris and I somewhat debated this the other day, and I use Mendoza as an example. Today, can anybody do what the Chiefs did with Mahomes? Now, we look back and it worked. He's going to be one of the great quarterbacks, but it was truly an attempt to have a redshirt year. What if an offensive guy that now is the head coach at the Raiders says, look, he's going to be our quarterback for 10 to 12 years, but maybe not this season. And Kirk Cousins is here. We think we can be better, and we want Fernando to learn and so forth, but we're not going to throw him out there, or can you not do that because he's the number 1 pick?
I think so, and this probably ties into all the news from today and Jaden Daniels specifically. It's a fast food world. These kids and these teams and these fans want what they want. They want it now. And I think that old adage, we've talked about it for years now. The old adage was you need 3 years to be a quarterback in the NFL. You have to adjust everything. You have to learn the playbooks, to trust the locker room and get to the speed. And I think that the Mahomes was even an expedited expenditure of that whole adage. And now we've gone away. So yes, in an ideal world, you do have him sit. And I think what happens is they're in that position to actually do so. I don't think that most recent number 1 overall picks have had the benefit of someone like Kirk Cousins being there. Usually they're picking number 1 because they don't have an answer at quarterback. So they spent the money to get Cousins. It makes sense. Put him in that stop. Yeah, play in week 18 if you can, and let him sit. Let him have that redshirt year. It would behoove him and the franchise.
At ProFootballNetwork.com, there's a lot of stuff to get set for the season, but I'm looking at preseason college All-American teams. Hey, pal, first and second team quarterback, what are you guys doing over there? That's, I don't see a Manning there. What kind of games you guys playing?
How could we ever not have Manning there when he played well in November? Let's just say that. And then a game in December. It was a lot of fun actually making these teams this year and putting Jaden Maivia up there. We knew we would get some flack for having Wyatt Young at wide receiver. Completely missed the read of the room by having our highest rated quarterback and arguably the most efficient quarterback last year that was completely decimated by his defense. Shocker in the Lincoln Riley era. But yeah, Jaden Maivia being the top rated quarterback was not a surprise for us. We've seen it all year. But if you look at what he did and what translates from season to season and how they built around him, I really think that had he been playing for an SEC team, we'd be talking about him a lot more than we are right now.
So you guys took your ratings and said, this is how we're making an All-American team. It's not, hey, we project this for the year. This is how we've rated these guys, and that's why it comes out this way?
We did a little bit of both. We looked at the starting point was the grades from last season, and then we used a forward-looking analytic, like an actual machine learning that looks and says, what are the stable metrics from year to year? And then also we put in new roster construction around them to sort of project and prognosticate how well they will do. Yeah. But the starting point was our analytics from last year, and then we looked at those numbers like Maiavea's play from a clean pocket. That is the most stable from year to year. The offensive line on paper at least got better. Maybe it doesn't have quite the weapons, but still, this kid has diagnosed coverages since his time at UNLV really well, and this year should be much better. So overall, yeah, the starting point was the analytical grade, and then we looked at it from what they should do this season as well.
Your wide receivers, Malachi Tony, people know. For those that don't know Wyatt Young, why should they know him?
He broke the analytical system last year as well, and it's not just playing against the teams that North Texas faced. He played up against some pretty solid quarterbacks. He got bracket coverage by the end of the season as well, which then led to North Texas having multiple receivers that should be on your draft short list. But it's his ability after the catch, his ability at the catch point as well, and then his routes as well. So to me, the familiarity with Drew Messmaker as well, just sure a full season at North Texas, and the defenses are going to get a little bit more difficult. But the guy is every bit of that alpha wide receiver one in the new age world, where he is Messmaker's best friend. He's going to get open fast. He's got deep speed. He's got great hands and contested catchability. This is a guy that you need to know going forward because he will pop on screen on Saturday.
You got Jaden Boggs, a first-team All-American. There's a lot of hype for him, and I think in this system, he's going to get a chance to pound the rock week in and week out.
Can he be the bell cow? I think he can. I mean, he's got the physical body type and the physical running style to do such a thing. I don't think there's a guy, maybe LJ Martin, next to him on our All-American team that's built this way, that's built to be a bell cow in today's college football. They don't really exist anymore. But Baugh, to me, is that guy. It's the proverbial bowling ball bouncing off of contact, but also he's got some elusiveness in the open field speed as well. So I love him in this new scheme as well, especially in early. So, college fantasy football is here officially. So if you want him in an early season, September running back guy to get you yards and points and carries, this is the guy to go for.
I did click on, because you didn't do just All-American, you did preseason All-Conference as well. Second team in the Big 12, Jaden Bellamy is there as a cornerback. Bruno Dial is a guy that is an edge rusher for UCF that's had a really good camp. I know you know about him. From Germany, didn't play a ton before he came to America, was a beast at Akron last year, and I think it's a really good find for UCF.
Yeah, it's one of those guys, I think, scratching the surface, and you wanted him to probably land at a power forward when he first came over, but had to go the Akron route. You don't have tape. You don't know how quick it's going to acclimate to on field. But when you're as big as he is, at 6'7", 260 on a good day, I mean, this is the guy who he just disrupts passing lanes just by standing there. And so he's got a couple of pass rush moves, which are super interesting to watch. And I think he wins pretty quickly with the speed for his size, but then there's the strength and just disrupting pass lanes. So yeah, no, this is a guy that he didn't grade as high. It was one of those, I think, like 75, somewhere around that range, which put him right at the top end of the above average. But a guy, again, in the right system, in this system, and as he continues to acclimate to the speed of the game and adjust, I love his ability going forward.
I'm sorry I'm staying on this stuff, but it's interesting to me. In the SEC, your top two quarterbacks, I think people would be shocked at one, Trinidad Chambliss, but the second team guy, Byron Brown?
Again, right? Look down the street, look at what he did, look at the familiarity with coordinators, and then, I mean, this it's hard to watch him play and not expect big things to come. If he could read and diagnose a defense, then we're talking about a guy who's a first-round pick type of guy with the athleticism. He's got great arm talent. It's one of those, okay, sure, he could throw it over a building, but can he actually direct the missile? A howitzer without a tracking system. Great arm talent, but I mean, this is an athlete with that system as well. I think you're going to have to rely on him early, especially as they get into the first few games of the SEC season to be not the bell cow, but he's going to touch the ball every play, right? So he's going to be the guy who's going to be reliant upon in that running game as much as any other quarterback in the league.
I know, preseason rankings are what they are. Some of it is just a lazy exercise. I am curious about some new coaches in new places. At Michigan, what is that roster? There are some areas that they're really good at. We talked about Bryce Underwood and kind of waiting for that bust-out moment. You've got a new coach who brought some guys from Utah. That tough physical Utah approach, I think, works at Michigan. But how deep is the Michigan roster?
It's not, and I'd be worried if I'm a Michigan fan going into the season, not just because Bryce Underwood and we needed to take that next proverbial step. It's the attrition that type of offense is going to run that worries me for what that team looks like right now. It usually will take, I'll give Kyle Whittingham the benefit of the doubt to be able to bring some players with him. I think he did a good job on the defensive side, bringing those players with him, which I was surprised they wouldn't have stayed with Morgan Scalley, but the defense probably doesn't concern me. So you're going to have to hope that you score more points than your defense allows. I know that sounds so easy, right? But it's the offense. I don't think it strikes fear into many opponents, especially the top tier Big Ten teams like an Iowa on defense or an Ohio State, obviously on defense. So I worry for that offensive line, the depth. There's some solid players, but it's not a Michigan line of old.
But they got some skill guys. Would they have been better with just a more consistent pocket passer for their offense?
You could even go back to the national championship and say, would they have been better even from those days? Yeah, they would have been. Some guy who can just keep the offense on schedule with not having to break contain or feel like he needs to be Superman or be this, $10 million quarterback. It feels like that Underwood felt like he needed to be, so to speak. So I think maybe if the game slowed down for him, I think that's his biggest jump we're going to look for. Can he actually just stand in the pocket and diagnose and understand the old live to fight another down? Because you have a defense that will allow you to play that type of conservative ball.
I'm going to pivot. I saw Dabo Swinney say, hey, we just got a bunch of guys, regular guys out there running, and I don't know how good they are, and then maybe we'll see. And sometimes I think it's coach speak, but I don't know. He may be telling the truth. I mean, there's a few guys there, but not like, Ken, we saw 4 or 5 years ago that, there's 4 or 5 first, second round picks. We talked about that defensive front even last year. How deep is that team?
It's not. And if I think you look at, there's probably 2 that are day 1 or 2 locks, and then you have a couple, maybe 2 more that might be those in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft, which is markedly different in the entire Dabo Swinney era, it feels like, as well. And Sammy Brown, it's Sammy Brown, the linebacker, who we probably penciled in as a potential first-round pick when he was coming out of high school, and then Ashton Hampton, the quarterback, who also could be a first-round pick as well. I think what is the most scary thing is that we don't have an answer or a solid player at quarterback, and that could go one way or another. Maybe they're hiding it, or maybe they're keeping it for us, or maybe we don't have expectations for a guy like Cade Klubnik to be this world beater and then be let down. Maybe this is that situation where they could just be a pocket passer and let the skill players. Bryant Westco's good, TJ Moore is good, but do they have a guy that's the guy? I don't think they do this year.
Let me pivot in our final few moments here to the NFL. I don't, it's a preseason depth chart. Anthony Richardson's third on the Colts depth chart behind Daniel Jones and Riley Leonard. And it's always one of those what would have been. I know I've asked you before, had he stayed at Florida, but even then the coaching turmoil, was what it was. And you kind of wonder, the raw talent coming out of high school, if it was properly developed and coached in college, what it could have been. Now he's a 3rd-round pick on a team that has Daniel Jones, the injured Daniel Jones, as a number 1 guy.
And Riley Leonard at number 2, which probably tells us more than we need to know there. I do think that there's probably a developmental issue in not just the NFL, but in college as well. And I think probably even all the way down, it goes back to the top, actually. It was a perfect segue to where we started when I said fast food world. You want these guys to be there as an 18-year-old true freshman. I mean, go back to when you were in fall in college, your freshman fall. Like, your head isn't all there. You're not on. I mean, maybe there's a couple of quarterbacks that are, they can be that amazing, highly touted freshman and then play at 18 years old and exceed expectations. But no, they need time to adjust. They need time. It's different from high school to college, from college to the NFL, markedly. And so, no, I don't think that he was ever properly developed. I would say he might have benefited from a transfer actually to a better, like a QB guru for his next year before going to the NFL.
Well, but to follow up, and Chris and I were somewhat debating this yesterday, because I said, in the J.J. McCarthy case, and injury is a factor here. But, and I think you just said this, is there a development problem in the NFL? Because I get the health thing with McCarthy, but he's playing for a guy known as a quarterback whisperer guru. Isn't it someone on the head coach to develop this guy?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just what we see on Sundays. It's also, it's every day, all 365 days a year for these guys to be doing this. And I do think that in McCarthy's situation, that probably tells you what you need to know is that Kevin, they don't feel comfortable with him. I mean, it goes back to Harbaugh. Had a lead, didn't throw the ball with him because they didn't feel comfortable with him throwing the ball. I think the writing was on the wall there. We just wanted to bank on some talent or traits with him. I don't know if the answer's here for McCarthy, but yes, the developmental issue, it's on the head coach, it's on the coordinators, it's on the support staff of those quarterbacks as well to properly develop themselves. It feels unique in that situation, but no, it's fast food. They want them done. They want it right away, and they want to reap the rewards of a first overall pick, and it just won't work.
It's mid-August, week 0 is in 2 weeks. You have the right to change your answer. Who might be the Drew Messemaker this year? The under the radar G6 guy that's set for a really big year that then becomes a Power 4 guy next year.
Oh, that's tough. What was the answer? I'm going to change my answer from previously, and I believe we had spoken about. I can't remember where we answered, but this year there's a chance. I don't know if he transfers. I think, or if he's got any eligibility, but a guy who sort of comes out of nowhere. It's Caden Veldkamp, the quarterback at FAU. This is
okay.
I feel like he could have moved up, but he went with Kitley to play in the air raid. Massive dude. I think it puts up massive numbers this year in year 2 in the system. And I think that's the guy we talk about more about why maybe we missed on him, why he didn't get P4 previously.
What's the name of the cat?
Oh, that's Charlotte. She lives in the office. She's very happy to have the office.
No problem. No problem. Good pivot. You just did a quick handoff. Thought you were running the option there.
All the time, so.
Yeah, thought you were running the option. Picked up. I thought you were pitching right there. So it looked good.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Please support Cam's work. He's on X or Twitter at Cam Meller and ProFootballNetwork.com. There's just a whole bunch of great fun things to get yourself set for the season, and a great place to be. Thanks. We'll talk to you next week.
My pleasure. Thanks as always.
You see the cat move right there?
I did. He was
like, boom, here comes Cat. There goes Cat.
Yeah, he was on it. No hesitation. You want that in a quarterback.
All over that.
Yep.
Anyway, good stuff from Cam. Always enjoyed chatting with him. We do have a number of NFL games tonight in the preseason opener for the weekend. News kicks off the 11 o'clock hour next.
Let's really do the news.
Yes. Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock hour, WYJ Orlando, WJR HD2 Cocoa Beach. It's the Beat of Sports. I'm Marc Daniels. Chris Vasquez is over there. No one's more fired up for the night's NFL action than Chris himself. Will be locked in all night.
Wait till Saturday.
What?
Cowboys Seahawks.
Lions Bengals goes tonight in Cincinnati. What do you like?
Oh, man. I want to see what the Lions have in their backup quarterback situation. Can't play Jared Goff.
That's what everybody goes into. How I see what their backup quarterback. Yeah. Packers Steelers tonight, NFL Network, 7
Why
o'clock.
is Aaron Rodgers playing preseason football?
Colts Patriots tonight, preseason football.
How can the Patriots handle the Mike Vrabel off-field distraction?
Colts 3-point road favorites in the preseason opener.
Man.
Bulletin board material.
The disrespect is real.
Cardinals Raiders tonight. Fernando Mendoza's debut
versus Carson Beck. It's a rematch. Oh my God. It's like the schedule makers knew what they were doing.
8 o'clock tonight. Chargers and Texans.
Yeah.
9 o'clock NFL Network tonight. Titans and the 18 Niners that are available to play in the football game.
Yeah, talk about a team that can't field a varsity team.
Tomorrow night, Bucks and the Jets and the Dolphins and Commanders. That game you'll hear on this station. Yep, little Saturday afternoon action, though, at MetLife.
Yeah.
Bring that stuff on.
Come on, get to Saturday
How are the
night.
Giants 2.5-point underdogs to the Vikings? Good grief. Fran Tarkington at quarterback?
You can't stop all 4'6" of Kyler Murray.
Saturday night, the Cowboys get rolled by the Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
If we win, watch out. If we lose, it's preseason. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah, I just pulled the we, by the way.
Did you?
If we win, the boys win.
If you missed it earlier, the news that Jaden Daniels, an attorney representing the family, sent a letter to LSU in early August demanding that they no longer use any name, image, and likeness reference to him because the family feels slighted that the school allowed another player to use the number 5 jersey.
Boo, get the hell over it. Good Lord.
Chris appears to not be siding with the Daniels family.
That would be correct.
Did you know that the following clause exists? Get back to that in a second.
Oh, don't leave us hanging.
As Mark Walters sold the Los Angeles Lakers to Josh Kushner and Bob Iger for $12.5 billion, some wonder what happens to the Dodgers. Well, team president Stan Kasten said there's no plans by Walter to sell the Dodgers. Some wonder because of the federal investigation going out of Mark Walter for his business operations. Others have done some digging and said there's some interesting things about the Dodgers setup and the many LLCs connected to that team. If Andrew Friedman, the general manager of the Dodgers, leaves his role and or Mark Walters sells the Dodgers, do you know what happens?
I don't.
Shohei Ohtani becomes a free agent. Didn't know that, did you?
I did not.
Yes, indeed. If Mark Walters sells the Dodgers or Andrew Friedman is no longer the general manager, Shohei Ohtani is a free agent. That clause written into the contract, and go back and do your own search. Ohtani, through his interpreter, that guy in jail, said consistency within the organization is important and paramount to his decision to stay with the Dodgers. And the clause in his contract says if either is no longer in their role, he is a free agent.
So what does that mean for the deferred money in his contract currently? Is that all gone?
I don't know exactly about that, but I do know the clause exists, and that's not me remembering. That's other people have written about this in the last 24 hours since the Dodger sale was announced.
Oh, man. Things just got interesting in L.A.
Didn't it? Didn't it?
Oh.
It's also been reported that Mark Walter apparently suffered a stroke in 2024, that it also may be health-related for him to make the deal for the Lakers. Well, then you say, well, is he selling the Dodgers? Or is he going to be healthier if he only owned one of the teams? Pretty interesting.
If he does end up selling the Dodgers, I'd be interested to see what happens with all that deferred money.
Yes. Remember I told you about starting quarterbacks in the preseason and how many plays they're down to? So In 2000, starting quarterbacks or quarterbacks who wanted to be the starter for a team had 33% of the pass attempts in 2000 in the preseason. Okay? That number peaked the following year at 34.7% in 2001. Last year, do you want to guess what percentage of preseason passes were thrown by starting quarterbacks?
I'll say, and I feel like this is going to be high, but I'll say a fifth, 20%.
9.8.
Oh, God. I thought about saying 10.
9.8. Yeah. Yeah. So don't expect that to skyrocket again, by the way, and go back up. Yeah, 9.8. Sunlight Field of Dreams game. That's on Netflix. The Twins and the Phillies at Dyersville, Iowa, where the 1989 iconic film was. Playoffs underway for the PGA. They're at the St. Jude Classic. Scotty Scheffler, Roy McIlroy teed off at 9:30 today, and that's what's happening. All right, I mentioned this earlier. Coming up in college hockey, I'm not about to take you down top teams in college hockey, but the top college hockey fighters coming on because years ago, that sport adopted a computer ranking system, and everybody accepted it. And when it comes to filling out the NCAA tournament, conference champions get an automatic bid, and all that large is based on a computer ranking. How that sport evolved with that, and could it ever happen in college football? Next.
More sports, more banter, more Marc Daniels. This is the Beat of Sports.
So a couple of years ago, as we're debating teams in the college football playoff, and some of that debate is part of the sport, I said at some point, do we want to take this away from the humans? You may like a human element, but I said, listen, there's a sport in college that did this. And college hockey for years has had a system that rewards conference champions, but when it comes to at-large, says, listen, here's live rankings, and there's no debate. This is how it's done. And I've always wondered, why can't that work in college football? I think I know why, because some people love the controversy. But I invited probably the best college hockey writer to join us in the program, Mike McMahon. Is a publisher of College Hockey Insider, and he's on X or Twitter at Mike McMahon CHN to chat a little bit about how that sport adopted it. Mike, first, thanks for joining us. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take me back, as I believe pairwise ranking started in the early 90s in college hockey. How did that evolve to get to a point where the sport embraced that, which now I know they use NPI, but take me back as that ranking system began to develop and how the sport kind of felt like this might be a way to go.
It was actually developed, like I said, back in the early 90s by, it had a lot of help from Tim Danahy who was I think a professor at the time at St. Lawrence University. And there was talk that it was so regionalized, college hockey was, and really still is, that it was impossible for a committee to get into a room and debate teams that should make the NCAA tournament when there at the time was really no TV clearance for college hockey. And the members of the committee were only seeing the teams that were in their region. So the Eastern ADs and the Eastern coaches and the committees would see the Eastern teams, but really wouldn't see the Western teams pretty much at all, and vice versa. Because there wasn't, I mean, there's still a very small TV clearance for college hockey, but it's certainly not, at the time, was almost non-existent, especially compared to football. So they had decided at that point, let's try to come up with some sort of mathematical system to rank teams and then decide which teams would move forward into the NCAA tournament. So that was kind of the crux of it at the very beginning, was nobody was seeing all these. The people that were making the decisions were only seeing really one region's worth of teams as opposed to all of them.
But that, I would imagine, went through some bumps along the way with some controversy. When did it begin to feel like, hey, we all are on board with this? Because I would imagine you still had voting polls back then, but did it take a while, or did the sport embrace it going, you know what, this works?
It took a little bit. Yeah, I would say it probably took until the late 90s, even early 2000s, before it really felt like it was standard and not debated as much in the sense of, should we go back to the way that it was before? Throughout the 90s, I think there was still a little bit of a debate of what the process should be. That debate started to quiet down probably 20 or 25 years ago.
Did it lead to what now we're seeing not happen in college football? The idea was, hey, now we've got a playoff, schedule tough non-conference games. The committee will take that into account, and now we see more cancellations of those agreements. But in college hockey, did it encourage schools to look at how they schedule, to understand that I'm going to be rewarded and I'm not going to be penalized if I go on the road and play somebody? How did it impact scheduling over the years in hockey?
I think it did have an impact, in particular with some of the changes that they've made even more recently, because you can, when you have a system like that, you can play with the numbers, you can play with the bonuses. And teams, at one point, there was a quality win bonus. So if you had wins against teams that were higher in the rankings, that would boost you up in the rankings. Still to this day, home games and road games are weighted differently. So if a win on the road is worth more than a win at home. Essentially, the way I describe it to people is, because there's ties in hockey, generally a tie in a neutral site game is, you figure each team gets 50% of the credit for a win in that game. But in college hockey, it's a little bit different. If you tie on the road, you're getting about 55% of a win. And if you tie at home, you're getting about 45% of a win. So they've tried to encourage teams to go on the road a little bit more, which has really been the biggest issue with hockey, is getting some of the bigger teams to travel. But I do think it has created a scenario where you do see some of the top teams that want to play each other because they know it's going to help them in the long run. That's why we see Denver. Denver was arguably the best team in the country for the last 7 or 8 years, regularly comes out east to play Boston College, Boston University. Those types of trips are happening on almost a yearly basis. And I think it's because the teams know A, it gets them ready for the tournament, but also B, those games are going to help in the long run if you win those games.
Couple things. Explain the difference, if there is much, of what was pairwise to now NPI, which came into play last year. And then for audience that may not know, what is the model to make the tournament? Conference champions and then get a spot, and then it's the at-large. So let's start there. And then is there a difference in the model from pairwise to NPI?
Yep. So in terms of making the tournament, there's 6 conferences in college hockey. They all have an automatic bid right now. There are 6 independent schools that are still looking for conference homes. But there's 6 conferences. They all get an automatic bid. The league tournament champion in all those leagues get one of the 16 bids to the NCAA tournament. It's a 16-team tournament. Then after that, it's the remaining top 12 teams in the pairwise that do not have an automatic bid. So every year, what's interesting about it too is like when we get to conference championship weekend in college hockey, you can start to forecast who's in, who's out, who needs to win in their conference semifinal, who is safe if they lose this game. It not only are teams playing,
it's common sense. It's unbelievable.
Not only are teams playing for conference championships, but it does there is that weight at the end of it of, hey, this team is right on the bubble. They're in their conference semifinal. They need to win this game to extend their season. Or maybe we know at that point a team has something locked up, but you start to be able to forecast this stuff a little bit more. So after the automatic bids are settled, the top 12 remaining teams in the NPI get those at-large bids. And then, like you said, the NPI was new this year. They'd used the pairwise for 20-something years. There's not a giant difference. There are some slight mathematical differences, I guess, in the formula, but nothing that I think has created a huge wave. It's just the NCAA, from what I've been told, preferred to use the NPI as opposed to the pairwise. And if you look side by side, because some people were still tracking what would the pairwise look like this past year compared to the NPI, there were some minor differences, nothing that was too crazy. You might have a team that was 15 in the NPI that would have been 17 in the pairwise, which can affect things at the bubble, but really there weren't enormous differences in the two formulas.
Couple of follow-ups of that. People mock many things in college football. For example, ESPN does their FPI to start the season, and one of the arguments was, so there's 16 teams in the top 25, all 16, we haven't played a game. How long into a college hockey season does NPI begin to kind of take shape? And is there any weight at the beginning of the season, or does everybody start with the same zero grade?
Everyone starts in the same spot. Yep, everybody's tied at the beginning of the year. There are, because it's based on comparisons, especially conference to conference, there are some wild fluctuations at the beginning of the year. You might have a team that enters a Friday night in October at 13 and loses one game and drops to 28 or drops to 30. It really gets crazy at the beginning of the year. So no one really pays attention to it. I tell people that it's not worth paying attention to it until about Thanksgiving, which is roughly 5 or 6 weeks into the season. Really, the most important factor is all the non-conference games in college hockey, like most sports, are front-loaded. There are some games that still happen around Christmas, non-conference games, a couple that trickle into January, but 80-90% of the non-conference games are happening at the very beginning of the year. Once those are done, which is right around Thanksgiving, that's when it's worth it to really start to look at it, and there's enough data in the formula that the ranking system starts to mean something. But really, if you look at it in October, I mean, you can drive yourself nuts because you get some wild fluctuations, especially if a team hasn't lost yet. If there's a team that's 6-0 through the first 3 or 4 weeks of the year, they may be number 2 in the country, and you get some people go, well, they played 6 of the worst teams. Doesn't matter. That 0 loss really impacts the math a lot. So until everybody has at least 1 loss on their record, it's almost not worth looking at all. Really becomes worth it around Thanksgiving.
But I would imagine as you get deeper into the season, it's a real-time ranking. It's not like I got to wait for a TV show on Tuesday. So how has the sport embraced that? We're in college football. We gather on a TV on a Tuesday because ESPN makes an hour show to find out what the committee thinks. In college hockey, it's real time. I could play at 2:00 on a Saturday, and I'm ranked 5th. And by the time everybody else, I could be 9th or 10th. Mm-hmm. How has the sport embraced that?
Yeah, it's much more, I think, comparative to the pro level where you've got, I mean, it's not exactly identical to the way that standings work in the NHL, let's say, but because the rankings are updated minute to minute. As soon as the game ends, that result goes into the formula and it updates like in the blink of an eye. Teams are able to, I think, prepare a little bit more, and especially at the end of the year. Like I said, that conference tournament weekend where some of the games are a little bit staggered, you may have teams that are watching other games knowing we need this result to be in. I think it allows them to plan a little bit more. That instantaneous ranking just lets everyone kind of know where they're at. I know coaches prefer this to, let's say, the college football model where you've got to wait and find out what the committee says. I think the coaches that I talk to all are in favor of a more mathematical, instantaneous ranking system, even if it's not perfect. Everyone has issues with the formula here and there, but everyone seems to agree. I'd much rather this, where everyone is compared to the same standard, than having to wait, like you said, a couple of days, once a week, to find out where we're at, and then also, not know necessarily what the committee might be thinking.
In the last couple of years, has there been any great debate over a team that didn't make it? You're like, wow, this team didn't make it, something's wrong.
I wouldn't say there's anything that's happened like that. There have been some things that they've changed because of teams that have barely missed. I won a couple of years ago, and they made a change, which I'm actually in favor of. Colorado College was the first team out of the tournament. I think it was 2 years ago. And we looked back after the season ended. They had a home playoff series in their conference tournament. They lost that series. They lost 2 out of 3 games. Because, like I said earlier, there's a home and road weighting to the way the pairwise at the time was being structured. Had they lost that playoff series on the road, they would have been in the tournament. They lost that playoff series at home, so they were out. So there was a little bit of debate of, well, wait a minute, does that not hurt a team that has earned home ice in the playoffs, right? We shouldn't have a scenario where you're better off playing on the road in the playoffs if you're on the bubble than you are at home. You want to encourage teams to try to get those home ice spots in their conference playoffs. So they did make a change where now that home road weighting to the formula goes away in the playoffs. Everything's a 50-50 game in the playoffs, which I think is a better fit because, again, logically, you start to think about it like, geez, this team was almost, they lost the games. There's certainly the case to be made that you got to win the games. Had they not lost those games, they would have been fine. But it does seem a little weird that they were hurt because they earned home ice in their playoffs as opposed to being on the road, they would have been fine. So they do make changes like that year to year if they find issues that need correction.
3 last ones. The seeding for the tournament, though, is what? You may have the at-large based on the NPI, but when it comes to seeding, does a committee come back involved?
They do with placement. In terms of the actual seeding, that's all on the NPI. So they will come up with a 1 through 16 order based on where those teams are in the NPI. Obviously, the 12 at-large teams are all in that mix. You take the conference champions and plug them in. If somebody wins their conference and they're 40th in the NPI, they're very likely going to be the 16 seed. Right. But that's how they'll seed it. And then the matchups are largely dictated by the seeding. The committee comes into play in terms of placing teams into regionals. Which regional are they going to go to? And what those first-round matchups are going to look like, because they avoid interconference matchups in the first round. So the committee's job in hockey is really placement. Where are these teams going? What are those first-round matchups to make sure there's not 2 Hockey East teams that are playing in the first round? They will mix and match there. So it's not strictly a 1 through 16 serpentine bracket, but they don't really move teams around that much. They might flip a 9 and a 10 seed to avoid 2 teams from the same league playing in the first round.
2 final ones. So the Frozen Four's come to Tampa 3 times. My good friend Jason Siegel heads up the Great Orlando Sports Commission. He's a hockey guy, has a ring from his days with Lou Lamoriello, played work for the Whalers, a big hockey background. He's trying desperately to get a Frozen Four here. But coming to Tampa, they got a big advantage, obviously. But the Frozen Four coming south has been successful. All 3 times they've gone to Tampa, hasn't it?
It's been hugely successful. Yeah. I come from the north, so a trip down to Florida in April, I'm never against. And even Vegas this year was a big success. They're finding, I think, the Frozen Four is interesting because a lot of the people that go every year. It's a destination thing. It's just a trip that they do every year. And I think they're finding that putting it in, yes, you're going to have to go to Boston and Minnesota every once in a while because they're the hotbeds of college hockey. But when you can put it in a destination city like Tampa, like Vegas. I'd go to Orlando. You're finding that those events are really the most successful because people want to go there.
But you'll be in D.C. this year, so along with this, will Denver win a 4th in 6 years in college hockey this year?
I am at the point with Denver where I am going to continue to pick them to win until they lose because they just seem to figure out a way every year. Every time you think that this might be the year they take a step back, they don't. So, yeah, I would be very surprised if they were not in DC. I'll put it that way.
And if I'm correct, and you know better than me, have they ever lost a championship game? Aren't they undefeated in the championship game?
Oh, they might. I believe they are. I don't think they've ever lost a national championship game. No.
2004, 5, 17, 22, 24, 26, and I don't see a loss. They've never lost a championship game. Wow. Mike McMahon is the premier college hockey writer. He's on X or Twitter at Mike McMahon, CHN. Check out his work at College Hockey Insider. Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Chris, it's not that hard. Not that hard. We could do this.
We make it very hard.
I mean, how cool would it be? Ready? A college football Saturday begins.
Yep.
We have this model, and noon games get done, and you see where you're ranked. And by the time we get done at midnight, you may have been ranked 14th. All of a sudden, you're 22nd. He told you about rewarding if you play on the road. Doesn't it sound simple? I mean, doesn't it seem possible?
But then there's no hour-long Tuesday show on ESPN, Mark.
But imagine outside of enjoying games, you're sitting there all day Saturday, and this live system is moving teams up, down, all over the place. It's like another reason to get absorbed on Saturday. I don't need the Tuesday show. I don't need the committee meeting to tell me. Doesn't it make sense?
Wouldn't that take money out of their pockets, though?
I don't know, but doesn't that make sense?
It does, but
doesn't it sound like a great system?
Mark, we're not in the business of making sense.
Encouraging you to play road games,
We are
not
in the
penalizing
business
you.
of making money. You know this.
Anyway, the good stuff from Mike. History lesson, which Chris is going to really like next.
All right, boys and girls, take a seat and listen up as we take a trip down memory lane with Marc Daniels in this week's history lesson.
I think Chris is going to like this week's history lesson.
I'm ready.
Got nothing to do with roaches on walls and things like that.
Yeah, we can just move on from that.
Chris had a big palmetto bug in his house, and he's moving now.
Yes. Burning down my house.
Chris, there are some great traditions in baseball. Tonight's the Field of Dreams game in Iowa, and we played the James Earl Jones speech. And there's just something magical about going to the ballpark, and you see the big stadium and the scoreboard and the smell of popcorn and the beautiful green grass if you're playing in a field that's got natural grass, and the chalk down the sidelines and base paths and everything. Players throwing warm up before, and just the beauty of baseball, the timeless, incredible sport that it is. But there are many other great traditions in baseball, superstitions, you jump over the line and so forth, and player-fan relationships and so forth. There's a unique history with baseball and something else that still exists today. And believe it or not, you can't find it in the collective bargaining agreement, but there's an understanding between the Players Association and owners about something that likely will never be banned. The history of the sunflower seed in Major League Baseball takes us way, way, way back. In fact, it takes you back to the 1950s, but actually in the 1800s, baseball players started chewing tobacco. They did it to help produce saliva. For some, it also gave a little bit of a buzz because back then the tobacco content in that chewing tobacco was pretty high. But in the 1950s, players like Stan Musial and Enos Slaughter, they began bringing sunflower seeds to the ballpark and on the playing field. Initially, Musial said, it was just something to chew on. I didn't want to chew tobacco as I learned about the dangers of chewing tobacco. And Stan Musial and Enos Slaughter were among the first to ever bring sunflower seeds to the ballpark, but it didn't catch on. There were a few players that picked up on it, and there was nothing in the dugout that would show, hey, here's thousands of sunflower seed shells anywhere. That all changed in 1968. In 1968, the great Reggie Jackson showed up at the ballpark one day with a bag of sunflower seeds. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And the guy that would go on to become Mr. October said, hey, it's healthy, good nutrition for me, and I don't chew tobacco, and I like it. And Reggie Jackson was said to be the first that would give you the put your hand out, pour the bag of sunflower seeds, and shove them in your mouth. And then Jackson perfected the art of what he said is how you do the mouthful of sunflower seeds. You bite, crack, take the seed out, spit. But Jackson didn't do it with one. He often said, how many can I do before I spit several shells out? He was not a swallow shell guy, Reggie Jackson. But Reggie did it, and even in 1968, the aura of Reggie Jackson was beginning to grow. And suddenly, other players came to the ballpark, and they, too, were popping sunflower seeds. And before you know it, guys would play the outfield where Reggie Jackson was that weren't chewing sunflower seeds and said, good God, what the heck is this? As Jackson began to spit all over right field, you can imagine what that led to. Then, on the steps of dugouts, as players began to chew not just in the field but in the dugout, the sunflower seeds began just spill over all over the place. And now fast forward, where sunflower seeds today are as much a part of the tradition of baseball as anything. The very few players kind of get away with chewing tobacco and the rules that go with that. But if you're wondering, there's got to be a ban somewhere where they can't stand the cleanup. The answer is no. There's no ballpark in Major League Baseball that has a ban on sunflower seeds for players or fans. The biggest reason why there's no ban for fans is because Major League Baseball fears they'd lose in court if you allowed the player to chew the sunflower seeds. Well, the fans say, well, it's about cleanup. Grounds crews across Major League Baseball literally put into their budget every single year the money to clean up sunflower seeds. There's a way to do it if you have turf. There's a way to do it if you have grass. It's expensive. It's a mess. But yet it happens in every ballpark and every dugout of Major League Baseball. By the way, if you're wondering what's provided more, is it bottles of water? Is it energy drinks? Is it bubble gum? Is it other forms of candy? Is it Uncrustables? Nothing comes close to the order of sunflower seeds in Major League Baseball clubhouses and dugouts all across the game. The tradition doesn't die either. Young players come up, and it just becomes a thing to do. PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs, MVP candidate, often talks about sunflower seeds and what it means to him. Pete?
This is how I eat my sunflower seeds. Usually I'm on the clock, running out to center field or whatever. And that's really the only time I ever do it as well. I don't really do it when I'm hitting too much going on there, but I'll just dump nothing crazy, but like a decent sized handful. And then once I throw them in there, I usually keep it on one side. And now that I think about it, I leave the other side of my mouth to crack. And I guess I'm learning as I go here, but it always seems like I end up getting the seed through like my front teeth, but I'll crack with the non-seed side, and then we'll leave a nice little present for the visiting center fielder. Yeah.
Yep, he does. And it's quite common in Major League Baseball. It's thought that the two managers that eat more sunflower seeds than anybody happen to be Dave Roberts of the Dodgers and Aaron Boone of the Yankees are thought to be the top two sunflower seed guys among managers.
I would have guessed Walt Weiss up there too.
He may be. It's not known which player perhaps chews and spits the most sunflower seeds, but the numbers tell you the truth. Never have they had more ordered sunflower seeds in Major League Baseball. Now, the world of flavors have come into play. Outside of the natural salted sunflower seed, which is the second most desired flavor you think in Major League Baseball?
It
Chris?
better be ranch.
It's barbecue.
Really?
With ranch third.
Oh.
There are a number of official sunflower seed partners with teams and players, and Major League Baseball has their own as well. So, all the way back in the 1950s, when Stan Musial and Enos Slaughter bought a few packs of sunflower seeds to the ballpark, it didn't catch on. Mr. October Reggie Jackson was the one that really got it going in 1968. And to this day, the sunflower seed is part of baseball's tradition.
Mouthful to one. I'm kind of like Pete Crow Armstrong. Mouthful in, put it to one side. I use my front teeth to crack the shell, use the non-filled side to chew on the seed, and then spit out the shell. I spit out one shell at a time.
Everybody's got a system. That's today's history lesson. We're back to put a wrap on the Thursday show next.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Magic schedule drop coming today. For those that are waiting on the edge of their seat for that. Got that coming.
Nothing will ever beat the schedule release of the Tennessee Titans from a couple years ago.
Oh. All right. Big schedule release guy there, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What else we got for you? The whole Jaden Daniels thing at LSU, the school has not made any comment about it. Again, they don't have any legal obligation to take anything down, despite his family attorney requesting that they do away with all Jaden Daniels.
Get over it,
references.
dude. Get over it.
Woo. Preseason football tonight.
Who you got? Who you got?
Well, let's see. NFL Network's got the Packers and Steelers, and then the Titans and Niners.
Watch out for that
Which
substation.
I guess what
if
is
you're
joined in
Tennessee.
progress because the Packers Steelers is at 7. And this says, this says 9 p.m. start for Titans Niners.
Better watch out for that substation.
I will not make the second half of that game or the first half, maybe, for that game. I admit I'm cheating here for a second. I want to see. Oh, that's right. Mitch Trubisky and Will Levis and Hendon Hooker are the other QBs in the Tennessee roster.
Oh.
Woo! About that. You're locked in for that, man.
So you mentioned that teams don't necessarily give some of these high draft picks time to develop before they just kick them to the curb and move on. But we look at these guys that have been moved on from, like a Mitch Trubisky, a Will Levis. These guys just aren't good.
I'm
They're
not saying that it's
good.
possible that teams miss on players. I think sometimes, though, teams are quick to press a eject button with some guys. Yeah. That's it for us today. Miss any of the program, go where you get your favorite podcast. Type in the Beat of Sports on Demand to get access to the entire show. While there, subscribe, get it downloaded, listen when it's convenient for you. You can watch the video stream back. Go to our YouTube page, 96.9 The Game Orlando. Click on the logo on the live button, and the stream is there for you to watch back at your convenience. Chris, have a good day today.
You too, Mark.
Chris produced. I'm Marc Daniels. We'll see you tomorrow with the Beat of Sports.